Hey up everybody, this is another Baldy's Battles in Miniature. Uh, this time it's a little bit different as I'm doing a little bit of a report from the tournament that we did yesterday, um, which was the Northern Cup. It was absolutely fabulous, played at Hammerhead. Obviously the original one got postponed due to the snow. Um, this one, the snow turned to rain, but it was an absolutely fantastic day. Um, the games themselves were brilliant, although many things were done to me which I didn't like. Um, and then going and wandering around the show was brilliant. There were some absolutely fantastic participation games, which, if anybody doesn't know, that's what Hammerhead's all about. It's all about participation games. And the Dam Busters one in particular uh, was fabulous. Dam Busters music playing, Lancaster controls, bombing dams, what's not to love. It was great. So I've did a few pictures from the tournament. I didn't take pictures of every round. It's not appropriate to take them when people are under a time pressure. Although to be honest, the speed that many of my games finished, I don't think it would have made much difference. So I just took some pictures of the tables before we started, and then some pictures of the end of the battles, just to give a bit of a flavour of what we were doing. So yeah, bot report number 18, DBA Northern Cup 2018. Hopefully I'll be doing many more, because I will definitely be going to the next one, if they'll have me, because it was really good. I've just got a couple of pictures, well, a couple of pictures. I've got some pictures of the actual setups that have been set up on the table. The organisers had put all the terrain in specific areas, set all the matchups, and even provided all the miniatures as well. And we had these really nice little copies there that you could put your models on so you knew exactly what everything was. And some of the tables and the setups were just brilliant. You had forces that weren't particularly good on certain tables. Other tables were a bit wider. Some tables had a lot more difficult terrain or bad going on them. And it really was great. Well, it was great to me anyway, because I got to play loads of armies that I'd never played before against loads of armies that I'd never played before, on even some terrain and setups that I'd never even seen before. So I had a fabulous time. This one of the tables was early Bulgar versus thematic Byzantines. Uh, I will definitely make errors in pronunciation, but I am a dullard from Barnsley, so you can please forgive me. This one was Italian Lombards versus Carolingian Frankish. Um, Lots of knights and cavalry around. This table was a Burmese versus Khmer. Never actually got to play on this one, which, seeing as it had plenty of elephants, is probably a good thing. Then there was a Marian Roman Velters versus Celtiberian, and for me, although I must say the standard of painting on all these miniatures is absolutely fantastic, but I really love the Celtiberians. I just thought the figures were fantastic. I presume Zeiston, and the painting on them was epic. So much so that I definitely intend to buy myself an army of them, um, despite having loads of similar armies. But I just think they look awesome. Then this one was Polybian Roman versus Syracuse. And the next table on there, it was later Carthaginian versus Gallic. I don't know why I'm telling you really, you could probably read it just as easy. The two little blue dice on there as well, they'd even provided some dice, which you didn't have to use, but it was nice to see that were on there. I use the blue dice all the time, so I can blame them for some of my dramatic losses. Spoiler alert, I lost heavily. Yes is obviously my fuzzy image, which had to come at some point, and this was Alexandrian Macedonian versus Thessalians. And then it was actually two tables that I never got to fight on, and I was really looking forward to it. Uh, it was this particular one was early like medium Persians versus early Sparta. I love the Spartans. I'm definitely going to get some Persians because I've got ginormous Greek armies, and I've got no Persians, and I've always thought I should really have Persians to go against them. My next table was later Persians versus late Sparta. Again, I never got to fight on this table, which I can't really say I was that gutted, seeing as the rest of the tables were so amazing. And then this table, which I'll go through in a little bit more depth later. And this one was Seleucids versus Classical Indians. I did briefly get to play on this table, and it was briefly. And it shows how novice I am. We had a river. Never played a river. We'd never even put a river on in any of the games that we've played up at Janko's or at the Gimps. And it was really nice to see a river. I had no idea what it did, of course, but we'll go from there. Unfortunately, I actually took a picture of the end of every game I played, and then these boards to show the winnings and losses. And on this last game against Mark that I played, I never actually managed to get a picture, which really spoiled the idea of doing this full report. But at least I've got a picture of where the armies are now. Here's a quick shot of some of the tables on the board. Obviously, all nice little terrain laid out, and you could move the camps, but the terrain had to stay in specific areas, and obviously it had been set up very specifically. Here's the rest of the tables. And this is end of game one. And I do apologise if I get anybody's names wrong. Game one was versus Dennis, I think. And I defended with Italian Lombards versus the Carolingian Franks. I managed to win this one by absolutely jamming it. I think I rolled a 1 in a combat. A 1. The enemy kindly also rolled a 1, which meant that I managed to kill his general to give me victory, which never won a game on a 1, I don't think. So I can't exactly say it was masterful stroke. We both pretty much skirmished around, moved over. The enemy moved over everything onto his right flank, and I'd moved everything onto my right flank and started pushing up with the spear in the middle just to give other things a bit to worry about. Silos got a little bit involved with each other. The Horde, which I've never used the Horde, don't think it actually moved. Or it might have moved once. And there was it. So oh look, I've gone back again. That was a classic mistake. Now, a professional would go back and edit that, but I'm not going to. So here it is at the end. This is my dead pile. Now you'll notice I've not taken a picture of the enemy's dead pile. That's because there wasn't. Now, Martin, who went on to win the entire tournament, played all his games without losing a single stand. So at least I like to think I got outplayed by a really good player. Although to be fair, I made some really stupid decisions on it. But it was actually a really good game. It might not seem as soon as I got slaughtered, but it felt like it was a really good game. Next game on here was against Graham. He was the Marian Romans against my Celtiberians. Oh no, that's completely wrong. I was Marian Romans and Graham was a Celtiberians. Obviously, this is the near side is where the Romans set up between a wood and a difficult hill. So there wasn't an awful lot of space to move. Really cramped you in, really put you in a dodgy position. Don't particularly think I played that terribly, although the next picture might not prove that. But I certainly didn't take advantage of trying to break out from there, form a better defensive line. There were certain things I could have done, I'm sure, um, which better players did. I also threw away some silo by moving them too far, which gave the enemy silo time to get to them. So instead of defending my flank, they just gave an easy dead up there. Artillery pretty much knocked somebody back once. I think that was it. Maybe if I could have got a shot off against something and hurt him, but I just played terribly. And if you look, Graham's got what, one, two, three, four, five units sitting on or just to the side of that hill that he never used all game. So he actually managed to beat me with pretty much half his army. And definitely for me, although everything was painted really well, as I say, those Celtiberians look lovely. It's just a pity my pictures don't show it. So here's a picture of my dead, and obviously you can see over on the other side of the table a lack of death. This next game was against Frank. Played Frank before over at Bakewell, so we had a good ding dong on this one. This one was the early Bulgar, my early Bulgar, versus Thematic Byzantines, and again, table was set up really well. Out of all 24 stands of figures on his side and my side, I had one unit of Siloi, and that unit of Siloi was the only stand on the table that actually didn't mind being in bad going, and we had two difficult hills and two woods to contend with. So there wasn't much room to manoeuvre, there wasn't much room to do anything, and it was really good. Again, giving you these options. So we had, a cavalry battle on a hill with one of my units of knights and a unit of light horse slowly being knocked further and further and further up the hill, which took for ages to kill. I got a bit lucky on the left as some of my light horse got attacked by the enemy, but they couldn't quite get enough to get around and close the door because that wood was slowing them down, which allowed me to survive. And in the end, it was my general, really. I think he took out a 6-knight block and took out a couple more units, which gave me the game. And here we go. One of the rare occasions when I didn't lose anything and managed to do quite well against the enemy, which really is bound to more down to bad dice rolling than masterful tactical genius. This is next game versus Simon. Obviously, quick pointing out, anybody who does want to go to the Bakewell tournament, get hold of Simon, because the last one was a right good laugh, and I'm sure the next one will be. There's my pretty movement marker, which bejazzled. Clive, one of my opponents at the club I play in Sheffield, said it was a bit garish having my name printed on it, so I decided to stick a load of jewels on it as well. And ironically, in this tournament, it possibly wouldn't have even been the nicest, prettiest movement marker as well. So this time I was the Celtiberians, and after what Graham did to me, I thought, haha, I can get round, I can get these Romans and catch them. And what I actually did was messed around, moved my general completely to one side of the board, which made it really difficult to move things at the other. Didn't take the advantage of my greater speed to get round. And of course, we then went on to the final roll where Simon managed to roll a 1 on his last attack. And I also went on to roll a 1 on the last attack, which I'm sure if I'd have rolled a 3 or something, I'd have survived. But no, I did, which gave the game to the Romans. At least it was a fairly close game. So my my guys lost some stands. I got the Romans down to 3. Um, the last, obviously, the last combat would have literally gone either way. But after playing Dennis and winning with an enemy rolling a 1, this time Simon returned the favour, and I lost on a 1. So that's where we go. Now, the last game, which is actually possibly ironically even the next board over, was against Mark, and I was defending with Indians against his Seleucids. We set up on the table. I had 3 elephants, 2 heavy chariots, some cavalry, and some bows. So that's all kind of great ideas, which went terribly wrong. I did shoot off a unit of pikes with some bows that were in a column, which was the only kill I got. And then Bloodlust caught me. I ran an elephant into some pikes, which I'd managed to also flank with some bows. I thought, right, this is an opportunity. If I can kill 2 pikes, then I'm doing pretty well. But needless to say, I didn't. So the elephant recoiled. Unfortunately, as I'd placed it really stupidly, it recoiled into my elephant general, which meant that I lost both elephants and a general. So everything I was rolling was costing me an extra pip, and I got taken apart so badly that Mark was even giving me advice on how to kill him. From past experience, I know that when you're pitted so much by your enemy that they're trying to offer you advice to kill you, it means that they know they've got you slaughtered. But it was still a good game, and I'm gutted I didn't take the pictures of it, because it would have been really nice to round the battle reports off. All I can say is I will definitely be signing up for next year, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Great bunch of guys and gals, great event, great organised, great show, generally great, unlike my leadership. Needless to say, I didn't win the tournament by a long stretch, but I had a really good time, and hopefully the enemy had a good time slaughtering me. I always like to think I have a good laugh at a game, although I do cry inside sometimes. Other than that, just a final thank you to everybody I played against, and to the organisers for setting it up, painting and doing a wonderful job. So that's report over. Thanks very much, everybody, and I'll see you on the next report. Yeah, that went well. Instead of turning it off, I actually paused recording, so you've got quite a nice period of nothingness. See you later. Ta-ra.